I'm tasked to talk about what the feminist means with climate justice for women. And then I also remember that the slogan of there will be no climate justice without gender justice was also come out during the COP 13, not 10, in Bali. So it means during the COP in Bali, there is a lot of movements and their call for climate at the time. Can I continue?
Yes, please continue. And just we are hearing some back coming from the interpretation. So please be careful. Yes, go ahead, Titi. Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, so we call for climate justice for women because climate problems exacerbates the existing injustices. And if we talk about climate problems, it's not only about climate disasters, but we also need to look for the climate response measures. And then both climate change and climate response measure occurred under the intertwined powers of patriarchy, globalization, militarism, and fundamentalism. So climate issue is not coming into a place where there is nothing, but it comes to a place where already problems existing. So we need to consider all those factors that exacerbate the impacts of climate to the lives of peoples, including the women and also the family and environments. So then the climate change and its response measure worsen the existing inequality and the living conditions of the people. So the ability to adapt to climate change in men and women is highly dependent on access to and control over resources, including income, natural resources, infrastructures, and services such as energy or water, as well also knowledge about the climate risk, strategies to deal with the climate issues, and available assistance to the communities. If we look at the women, women are more likely to be adversely affected by climate change than men because they constitute the majority of the world poor. They are often directly dependent on certain natural resources for their primary source of food and livelihood. And women also often face discriminations, harmful stereotypes, and social, economic, and political barriers that limits their adaptive capacity. They also face limited or unfair access to financial assets and to services, information, education, land, resource, and decision-making processes. And they have less opportunity and less autonomy. So within that context and issues, there is a market-based solution for climate problems that allows those to happen, you know. Public and private climate financiers prioritize the low carbon or GSG's energy projects while ignoring the social, economic, and environmental sustainability of the local and indigenous people communities. Moreover, they also ignore the rights of the people to information, decision-making, water rights, and to healthy environments. So we call for climate justice for women. It means we need a transformative economic development that changes existing extractive way of doing business into the sustainable and regenerative low carbon GSG economy. But the low carbon economy must not be about changing types of energy sources from high carbon into the low carbon. This solely way of thinking is massively, if we look at the government's, private sector, business, and so on. So they think that transform of economic system is actually transform of energy sources, changing energy sources. It's not that what we mean. And also we don't want to have a destructive, massive clean energy projects. There is a now massive clean energy project coming to us, which is very harmful, like the geothermal, like massive wind farm, or what we call it, wind energy farm. So the economic transformations and its transition to reduce GSG has to strengthen the resilience against the climate change. The transformations must put primacy on the sustainability of livelihood and human and women's rights. It should also address inequality within our economic system and recognize that a transition of the economic must have gender equitable benefits. We also need energy democracy. It means prioritizes energy for communities rather than for industries, and give the communities, including their women, the power to decide about the energy sources they want to use. Moreover, we also need to have a recognition, reducing and redistribute the care work that mostly women do at home and also in public, which should ultimately contribute to dismantling gender division of care work or labor, increase community contribution to the care work and public services. This means is to acknowledge that care work is not solely women's work at home or at the society because of the patriarchy. Contribution of communities should also put into the care work. So, and the last is the women wisdom and experience must be the base of decision-making in regard to any project's intervention, be it for climate, for development, or investment. So those are some thoughts regarding climate justice for women, Shell. So thank you for listening and happy to have a further discussion for this. Over back to you, Shell.